Alexander the Great was born in 356 BCE in the ancient kingdom of Macedon, a region located in northern Greece. His father, King Philip II, had transformed Macedonia into a powerful military state, and from a young age Alexander was groomed to follow in his footsteps. Tutored by the philosopher Aristotle, Alexander developed a keen intellect and a deep appreciation for Greek culture, ideas, and philosophy. His education, combined with his natural military genius, set the stage for one of the most remarkable careers in history. At the age of 20, after the assassination of his father, Alexander ascended to the Macedonian throne. Almost immediately, he faced revolts from neighboring states that had hoped to break free of Macedonian rule. He swiftly crushed these rebellions, asserting his authority and preparing for the grand ambition that had been nurtured in him since youth, the conquest of the Persian Empire, the largest and most powerful empire of the time. In 334 BCE, Alexander crossed into Asia Minor, modern-day Turkey, with an army of around 40,000 soldiers, starting his campaign against the Persian Empire, ruled by King Darius III. His first significant victory came at the Battle of the Granicus River, where his forces decisively defeated a Persian army. This victory opened the doors to the rest of Asia Minor, and city after city fell to him. The strategically significant victory at Issus in 333 BCE, where Alexander faced Darius III himself, solidified his reputation as an unstoppable force. Darius fled the battlefield, leaving his family and vast treasures behind, further bolstering Alexander's resolve. After defeating Darius, Alexander set his sights on the rich lands of Egypt. Upon arriving in 332 BCE, he was welcomed as a liberator from Persian rule. The Egyptians, recognizing his power and ambition, declared him the son of the god Ammonius, a title that enhanced his legitimacy and authority. In Egypt, he founded the city of Alexandria, which would go on to become one of the most important cultural and intellectual centers of the ancient world, spreading Greek ideas and learning throughout the Mediterranean. With Egypt under his control, Alexander marched eastward into the heart of the Persian Empire. At the decisive Battle of Gaugamela in 331 BCE, he faced Darius III once again. Despite being heavily outnumbered, Alexander's superior tactics and leadership led to a resounding victory. Darius fled once more, and although he was later killed by his own men, Alexander was now the undisputed ruler of the Persian Empire. He continued to push further east, subduing the lands of modern-day Iran, Afghanistan, and parts of Central Asia. But Alexander's ambitions knew no bounds. He marched his army into India in 326 BCE, seeking to conquer the unknown lands beyond the Persian Empire. He fought his most famous battle on the banks of the Hydaspes River against King Porus, a local ruler who commanded war elephants. Though Alexander emerged victorious, the battle was hard-fought, and his weary troops, having been on campaign for over a decade, began to lose morale. Realizing that his men were no longer willing to march further into the unknown, Alexander reluctantly turned back. Despite turning back from India, Alexander's empire now stretched from Greece to the borders of modern-day Pakistan, covering a vast swath of territory that included Egypt, Persia, and parts of Central Asia. He had created the largest empire the ancient world had ever seen, and with it came the spread of Hellenism, the influence of Greek culture, language, art, and ideas. As he conquered new territories, Alexander established cities, many of which he named after himself, and encouraged the mingling of Greek and local cultures. Greek became the lingua franca of his empire, and the local elites were often educated in Greek philosophy and science. This fusion of cultures, known as Hellenism, had a profound impact on the ancient world. Greek art, architecture, and theater spread across the empire, and centers of learning such as the Library of Alexandria became hubs of intellectual activity where Greek and non-Greek scholars worked together. However, Alexander's life was cut short. In 323 BCE, at the age of just 32, he fell ill and died in the city of Babylon. His empire, though vast and powerful, was left without a strong successor. After his death, his generals, known as the Diadochi, divided his empire into smaller kingdoms, but the legacy of his conquests endured. The spread of Hellenism continued for centuries, shaping the cultural, intellectual, and political landscape of the Mediterranean and Near East long after his death. Alexander the Great's conquest changed the course of history. Through his military genius and vision, he spread Greek culture far beyond its traditional borders, creating a lasting legacy that influenced the development of Western civilization. Although his empire did not survive intact after his death, the cultural and intellectual impact of his conquests, the spread of Hellenism, would endure for generations, blending Greek and Eastern traditions in a way that reshaped the ancient world.